session, and then after this, I'm going to just don't leave because at 2:30, I know you got sessions to go to, but I just have a couple of quick announcements just to tell you what you need to be doing. But Brandon, you're up here, so why don't you go ahead and introduce your next speaker?
Yes. We have, where is Anand? I can't even see. Is he out here?
He was supposed to be here. Anand, are you back here?
Where? Oh, come over here. Come on, let's get up here. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this introduction in real time. And they're taking away some of the chairs. Honestly, I asked if they would leave a few. I thought if we played musical chairs, it would be kind of fun.
It will be fun.
But they wanted to limit that, so they're moving some, and then we can sit down. I'm gonna move my water over here. So let's go.
We'll face each other.
Yeah. We can do that. Whatever. Or them. Maybe, I don't know. Whatever you want to do. All right, guys. I'm gonna switch topics a little bit here. After this gentleman introduces himself, then I'm going to tell you why we're talking. So I'll let you do your own introduction.
Yeah. Hi, everyone, and thanks to Laris for this opportunity. Really feel honored to, first of all, follow that topic, which was amazing. The way you guys covered it. Kudos to your team to doing that, and getting an audience with all these esteemed members from the channel. So I'm Anand Janefalkar. I'm founder and CEO of UJET. And we're going to talk about our favorite sector and customer support and how you guys enable it.
Yeah. So this kind of came about, and it's kind of funny because I mean, UJET doesn't really need a commercial or anything, right? So that's that. This came out of just an off-the-cuff conversation that you and I were having because I'm pretty sure I crashed your company dinner, but I think you guys are eating somewhere. And the perspective you had around why you started. I mean, because let's face it. I mean, I've been in the contact center space for like 3 decades now. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of major players, and there's a lot of companies that do a lot of really good stuff. I mean, like, and we love them. Honestly, it's one of the things I love about our industry because there's space for everyone. Like, regardless of who you are, there's enough customers for all of us. But still, you looked at this space with all the major players and everything that's going on, and you said, you know what? I'm gonna start me one of them. So why?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question and something that is just intensely personal to me. So thank you for asking this. I mean, I was always very entrepreneurial. I wanted to start something of my own after working for some amazing consumer brands like Motorola and Jawbone. But it had to be something that kind of fits 3 buckets, right? One, it has to be something where I can bring my expertise and consumer DNA from my experience from product and engineering into it in a very, very fruitful manner. The second one was it needed to make great business sense. And the third one is, again, for an entrepreneur of my kind, it needs to be so deeply personal that it motivates me to go every day and be responsible for an enormous, amazing team that we've built. So I'll start off with the first, and we can see how it goes, and you can tell me if it's boring, and we can move on. But the first one is the consumer DNA standpoint. When I looked at this sector, it is something that, I mean, everyone is a consumer. Everyone has had a bad support call. Everyone has had a bad support chat. And if you look at it, it seems like in everyday life, when you have a conversation, people communicate visually and contextually. There was a macro movement that happened in 2007, which I was very lucky to be a part of, was the smartphone revolution. And humans are just very, with primitive nature, are very mobile. And then having a mobile device that almost has supercomputer capabilities really changed our world. And people started communicating even more visually and contextually. Now, if you look at what that brought through is there's 2 things that happened. One is that seeing is believing took a new meaning because of the ability to do photos and videos and screenshots. And then secondly is that when you take that particular device, your connection point to the products and services that you consume became more and more of the apps and the websites and all of that. So what I found in this particular sector is that it was very incongruent of how people had a conversation in normal life and every day versus when they have a conversation on a support call. And it really struck me to the point that, okay, there's so much I have had the opportunity of working with at Motorola and other companies to help make this happen. I had the privilege of being a part of the first wireless cloud architecture in 2007. I really thought that I could bring that consumer DNA as well as the wireless cloud knowledge into this product and service. So that's the first part. But if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense, right? To hire a team and ask them to leave their stable jobs and come over work with someone that's never worked in this sector. But the business opportunity was even more compelling. Again, I can break it down into two things. The first one is that everyone is facing this problem. There's no clear market leader, no matter what anyone claims. And then there's a real opportunity for this huge, huge $48 billion. The numbers keep getting higher and higher every time you see an analyst report. The market is only getting bigger with the movement towards cloud now that business continuity planning after the pandemic is no longer just a checkbox.
Right.
But furthermore, there was a very good opportunity to do good. You think about when someone is having amazing experiences with brands and companies. You take your wireless carriers, you take your hospitals and healthcare providers, but you have one bad billing call. You have one bad CT scan pre-certification call. You really take that to heart and you start doing business with another brand. So churn is real. And so I thought there was an opportunity to do real good over there and bring all of that together, and that's why UJET.
All right. So that's two. I'm gonna come back to the third one in a second because I want to
All
ask a different question. For these guys, partners specifically, they're talking to their customers, about different technology, about helping and stuff like that. But when you say like you went at it from the end user, from the consumer perspective, man, we don't like toll-free numbers. We don't want to call them damn people,
Exactly.
okay? So we want to get on I want to get on the internet. I want to get on the web. I want to resolve my issue. So how can they talk to their customers? Like even from your perspective, you're saying you saw there was a need, it needed to be a better experience, and you took the approach that somehow technology could create a better experience. So how would they go about, if they had to remember two or three things, how would they go about explaining to their customer how technology can create a better experience for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I fall back to like being the most human and making technology to enable us being better humans, not just better from a standpoint of just being better individuals, but from better communication. Because better communications have the battle won, and seeing is believing. So if you have customers that are getting into these user engagement models where something needs to be solved in a way that it is, first of all, super secure. I don't know if most people here know, but we had SOC 2 security before we had a website. We kind of went about it a reverse way. First of all, it needs to be very secure. Secondly, you should be able to show what you're seeing and the problem you're facing to the person that's trying to help you on the other side. So with a click of a button, if you can share your screen in terms of screenshots, videos, photos, and that allows you to jointly look at this in a way that a picture speaks 1,000 words, a video speaks 1,000 pictures, and then you kind of get further past that. I think that is a primary premise from the end user persona. From the agent persona, they don't feel like they are really solving an issue with their hands tied behind their back. I sometimes use this phrasing. It's like finding a needle in a haystack blindfolded. So you don't feel that as an agent when you have the tools that our patented platform allows you to. And the third part is just making it cloud native and smartphone centric from a get-go. So there are platforms out there that you can have your own team, you build it in 12 months, certify it 18 months and all that, but consumers want this today. And consumers want this to be a technology that disappears in the background. And even the engineers that are building it, they don't want to maintain and sustain it for security and compliance. They want something that they can build upon on top of. So I think that is the platform that we provide. And again, that is how I would probably encourage to start that conversation.
Have a conversation. One more for this group from the channel perspective, because whenever we have new entrants, and you guys might be past the time where we should stop saying new. But when you have a new entrant, from our perspective, I always get the question, well, are they set up to support us? Are they channel friendly and stuff like that? And the only reason I'm touching this is quite frank is because you hired some of my friends. So you actually had a concept, an idea, and a development, a way to get the technology out. But it looks like you were a little intentional about the people that you had to support
Absolutely.
and go to market with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a common knowledge that people join people. People don't join companies. People want to do business with people. People do want to do business with companies. But again, the thing that is the age-old saying, like, no one gets fired for just picking IBM and going about their business is kind of fading. So you want to do business with people that you really like and enjoy doing that. And I want to enable that from both internally and externally. And we take a lot of work to make people successful in terms of positioning, both internally and externally. And to do that, what is a better way than just surrounding yourself with great people that know this space way more than I do, that know the space, and the people that are connected to and selling these solutions to customers and companies that have for several times over. So we have been extremely, I wouldn't say precise because that's tooting our own horn, but we've been extremely selective in getting people that adhere with our viewpoint of teamwork. I'd shared this briefly with you, and maybe it won't be too belabored for this audience, but we have a concept called BARTS. It's being human, accountability, respectful attitude, transparency, and speaking up. Being human, I think it's pretty obvious.
Hopefully.
But yeah, treat everyone as a human, and so, because that's how you want to be treated in return. Accountability is a big one. You cannot let your team down just because you did some impulsive things, and you couldn't be accountable for it. If you can be accountable for it in the long run, don't do it in the short term. Respectful attitude. Please treat everyone with respect as default. And then transparency. This is not a sector, or I doubt there's any job or position where you can be successful by just hoarding all information and then trying to make yourself indispensable. I think that the world has changed to a viewpoint is that it's a team sport. It's not singles tennis. Nothing wrong about tennis. I love tennis. But you can be successful more if you're transparent and share with your team. And the last one is speaking up. I think this one I want to specifically emphasize is because a lot of times there are organizations that are built, and these are huge organizations where people are either afraid or just don't care of speaking up because they know that no action is going to be taken. So we built our team, and we operate in a way that if there's anyone that's speaking up, first of all, they're encouraged to speak up if they feel that this is something that is happening in a very siloed part of the world or siloed part of the team or so on and so forth. There is a playbook for all managers to look at and then help escalate it as needed or take action. And we've seen that the people that are being successful at professionally also have these personal and professional values, and that's what we look to hire.
Okay, very good. Well, I think you did good. I think you did well. I'm gonna double back because you did give me two of the three. So okay. I know the third one, but I'll let you share that.
Yeah, the third one, again, for someone, the entrepreneur of my kind, to be very, very almost supremely and intensely focused on this, it needed to be personal. So the first aspect of it is, I think it's just looking at my last name. I mean, if Gary would have introduced us, he was going to just introduce me as Anand J.
Yeah, he took the short route on that, right? He's like, I'm going to introduce Brandon, and Brandon has a guest.
Right. So it's because my last name is Janefalkar, and try saying that to a customer on a customer support call and trying to get a return email on that. Try saying that multiple times when you get transferred. And it just feels unnatural when your connection point to the product and service is just very digital. And it should be within the app, within the website, or even when you're picking up the phone and calling. A lot of that should be in your user segmentation. So that is what kind of really helped the personal story. I'm sure I'm not the only one that faces this problem.
Right.
Maybe I face it worse than others, but I'm sure there's other things like addresses and so on and so forth, which are identifiable and information that are needed to successfully solve the query can be made kind of possible for both the agents and the customer side to share those. So that again goes back into our kind of concept of the platform and all that, and it was very, very compelling and felt deeply personal to me. The second part of me, again, is to overly make this so intentional and intense is that I can put my foot on the ground and say, like, this is something that I'm gonna do for the long term, and that this is why you should kind of leave your otherwise stable jobs and join UJET, especially in 2015. I decided to dedicate the name of the company to someone I lost to cancer. It's a reminder of that, do not take life for granted, try to do good, and make every day count.
All right, and I'm gonna make you just clear up that last part because the person's name wasn't UJET, was it?
No, it was. It's in reverse. It's Teju.
Okay, I was gonna ask you how you pick your friends,
Yeah.
but it's all right. It's all right. So we we got that. It's one more I always like to ask because again, these guys are independent business owners. They're at different stages, right? Some of them are running major operations with several people. Some of them are just starting out. I always like to offer expertise, right? As a CEO and a founder, you know, whether it's UJET or whatever, some of the principles of how you build a successful business are the same. So let's say for the business owners out there that are kind of getting started and they want to be successful, give me 2 or 3 things that you share with them to help them.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I don't think it's going to hurt to reiterate is that it's all about the people, right? If it weren't about the people, the most successful businesses in the world would be one-person LLCs. So just understand that and then over-index on people. The second thing would be to probably try and just embrace the fact that we start calling things technical or digital or it's like high tech. But if you really think about it and you kind of dial back several thousand years, having a wheel and a horse cart was tech. When you went from horses to cars, I mean, the famous quote from Henry Ford is like, if I would have asked the people, they would have asked me for faster horses, but I built a car. So technology and evolution is a constant change. In enterprise, innovation and automation are always going to win. And so maybe that is one of the other things that I'll say that I have learned and always embraced. The third one would be to just have, just extending that and have a sense that there are businesses, especially in our sector, that are sales and marketing machines, and they don't want to be product machines, or they just can't be product machines. I think in a world of today that we live, being a product and engineering machine as well as a sales and marketing machine is extremely, extremely important. And yeah, this particular sector especially has had just amazing, it's opened my eyes to how impactful and how incredible these channel and partnerships can be. And it really puts a different perspective how you approach go-to-market and how you approach enterprise software. So maybe for our sector specifically, that would be the fourth point that I would make, is like, if I can tell one thing to the Anand 4 or 5 years ago, or 3 years ago even, is to really go double, triple down on channel.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I was going to ask you about that because there is a point in the development of your business where you have to decide. I'm going to have direct salespeople. Like I said, I didn't even know what a channel was. Like, there's no degrees for channel.
Right.
You know, and nobody in my neighborhood was talking about I can't wait to graduate and go work in the channel. So how other than the basic economics of it, you know, how did you decide that okay, I'm going to make my company based on this technology idea I have. I'm going to better this industry, but I'm also going to go to market using this third party or this channel group.
Yeah, I mean, it's only natural when you really distill it down, right? Channels about relationships, and relationships are pretty much everything. Now, especially if you look at a sector where there has been lots and lots and lots of options, and these options have been different geographically before the advent of the cloud. There's like, I mean, you'll still see some places that you cannot have a setup where two contact centers can be more than 50 miles apart. Otherwise, you have an extra charge, or you need to have extra setups and everything. So realizing that this is just natural and it's an extension of relationships, why would someone buy from a person that they have otherwise trusted for decades or even like years together? It is embracing that rather than trying to replace that, because they already know what the issue is to a degree that you will take maybe several different cycles to understand. So there are several magnitudes of order ahead in hyper-personalizing the solution for the end customer or for the company or the client company. So I think just understanding that fact and trying to just distill it down, that it's about relationships. And rather than forging new relationships, which you always should, you could also take the existing relationships and help them provide better solutions for the modern world.
Perfect, perfect. I have one more for you, and then I will touch on something specific to your company. But in as much as you can tell us, or you want to tell us,
Sure.
Since you are obviously forward-thinking and you looked at how you wanted your company to exist, you looked at how you wanted the technology to be. What's next? What's going on, man?
Well, we're just getting started. Like I said, we started from being a product and engineering machine and just going crazy about security and privacy. Like, I think even when I talk about it, it sounds absurd to have SOC 2 certification before a website. We've just gone to a point where we have fully activated channel. We have fully activated the go-to-market team. Finally have a CMO not too long ago, Baker Johnson, who's fantastic. Vasily Tryant, he's my COO. So we're just getting started to like just more proliferation and getting through different sectors. I mean, I spoke a little bit about healthcare. Fintech is another big one. I mean, if you have user behavior, everyone's digitally acquainted to a point that they open up their mobile app, log in with their Touch ID, Face ID pattern on Android. Yet when they start a conversation, when they hit a hurdle over there, they get thrown out of the app into a different kind of channel, and then they're getting verified through your mother's maiden name or favorite band in high school. Whereas they could use the same way to do that. So I think we're just getting started having our story get out there, and yeah, we really want to take this to the nth level.
Yeah.
I think there's a great opportunity for that. We have a lot of unique stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they say, timing is everything, right? And
timing is everything, but at the same time, I think we're already late, right? I think the embracing of the mobile and smartphone revolution that has probably occurred 13, 14 years ago, we're still not fully embracing that. And that is why we feel compelled to go out and tell our story even louder and amplify this. And thank you for helping us doing that.
No problem, no problem. Speaking of being a little late to the game, though, it's kind of, I mean, I still remember the days when people wanted to put in, premises-based boxes and stuff like that. Obviously, that's subsided quite a bit, even before last year, right? And with COVID and stuff like that. So, but are you still fine for the partner's perspective? Are there still those types of conversations that they have to have, or what's their approach to getting someone to talk about a cloud contact center?
Yeah, so I think starting the conversation on the right note is pretty much getting a great start towards it, right? First of all, everyone knows now that business continuity planning is no longer just a checkbox or something just you need to put together for making your CISO happy. It is real, right? It is real. Then you take that further into how are you going to hire a very geographical diverse, as well as diverse from all of the conversations you had before, that kind of workforce. Like this does not have to be limited to talents or setups in certain pockets just because they've had that in the past. you want to enable this to be very far-reaching and be just successful to all of the places where you want to take your product to. If you're having that conversation with your client company and they want to take their products into several different geographies, but still have a very simplified operational mechanism where they could possibly move agents or contact centers, dashboarding, reporting, all of the observability metrics from, let's say, Canada to Colombia and half of it to Philippines. It should be a platform that allows them to do that in this day and age, because you don't look at those factors in other products and services that you consume in everyday life. So I think that would be a way to kind of start that conversation. And secondly, what are their if they're not ready to completely move their on-prem system, maybe there's an amortization schedule that their CFO is really kind of pushing them to go through. Think about modularity. Think about starting the conversation in a way that how do you set yourself up for the future? How do you make it future-proof without doing just a massive rip and replace and just disrupting your business? And making your CFO also happy and achieving business metrics along the way. So I think those would be a few different ways that would start that conversation. Because what we have built also is very modular. We can plug in specific ways and pieces that other platforms cannot. And that way, it's not always a conversation about just like, stop everything that you're doing. It's so antiquated, you should never be doing it. Well, but there are business reasons and operational reasons that you might not have afford the opportunity to do that. Then go about it in a modular manner. And guess what? That is the way for the future, and that is the way to make your customers happier, your managers to have better observability, and your agents to ensure that they can work from anywhere.
Yeah, I like the modular approach. It's one of the things we talk to partners about. You might not necessarily be talking to a customer that is ready to rip and replace or pull out their whole system. So it's nice to be able to get in with a piece of technology that you can create some stickiness with, you know, and have them come back to you.
Yeah, and even further, I think there has been in the past a lot of kind of hurdles to have multiple platforms together. I mean, with our platform, all you need is a Chrome browser and an internet connection. No downloads, nothing. So our algorithms kind of take care of everything in the back. And it's, again, just adhering to our basic principle is like technology needs to disappear in the background. Onboarding shouldn't be like a month-long or 2 or 3 month-long process. Fire up a Chrome browser. You already have SSO or SAML. Have them log in. You don't even have to create something as small as an email address. And you're up and going. So if you can do this with certain parts of your team or carve out certain teams which might be serving a certain LTV vertical or a certain segment of your customer, go ahead and do that. And we'll make sure that it's modular, it's not supremely disruptive.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And guys, we talk about that kind of stuff all the time. It's good to have a way in to your customer. It's good to be able to have a conversation with them around modular. This it's kind of funny because you know, as the CEO and founder of UJET, obviously you have an organization and a technology and a product. But I just think you're a cool guy to talk to, man. And we have good conversations. I think you have a lot of knowledge that's going to help these guys out. So
yeah,
thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Hopefully others feel the same.
Well, we can.
But appreciate everyone's
time.
All right,
thanks,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
We're done.
That was great.
Thanks, man.
Good job.
Appreciate that.